It was a cold, misty night in the small town of Greenwood. Detective Sarah Hayes arrived at the scene of the crime, the air thick with tension and a sense of foreboding. Yellow crime scene tape fluttered in the breeze, marking off the area where the heinous act had occurred. Sarah adjusted her coat and approached the uniformed officers guarding the perimeter.
"What do we have?"
she asked, her breath forming small clouds in the chilly air.
Female victim, mid-30s.
One of the officers replied grimly.
Appears to have been strangled.
Sarah's stomach tightened. She hated cases like this, where the victim's life had been snuffed out in such a brutal manner. She took a deep breath and pushed aside her emotions, focusing on the task at hand. As she entered the crime scene, Sarah made her way to the center of the scene where the victim lay, her expression somber as she surveyed the area. Over the next few days, Sarah and her team worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle of the murder. They combed through the victim's background, interviewed witnesses, and scoured the crime scene for any shred of evidence that might lead them to the perpetrator. It was during a routine sweep of the area that one of the forensic technicians made a startling discovery. Hidden among the foliage, near where the victim's body had been found, was a small, blood-stained piece of fabric. Sarah's pulse quickened as she examined the evidence, her mind racing with possibilities.
"This could be our big break,"
she murmured to herself. The fabric was carefully bagged and sent to the lab for analysis. Meanwhile, Sarah and her team continued to work tirelessly, following up on leads and poring over every detail of the case. Days turned into weeks, and the investigation seemed to stall. But just when Sarah was beginning to lose hope, the lab results came back with a crucial piece of information. The blood on the fabric matched that of the victim, confirming that it had been torn from her clothing during the struggle. Armed with this new evidence, Sarah and her team redoubled their efforts, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice. They revisited the crime scene, searching for any additional clues that might have been overlooked. It was during this search that they made another breakthrough. Hidden in the underbrush was a small, seemingly insignificant object, a broken earring. Sarah's heart skipped a beat as she picked it up, her mind racing with possibilities. Back at the lab, forensic experts analyzed the earring and found a crucial piece of evidence: a tiny trace of skin cells belonging to the perpetrator. With this new lead in hand, Sarah and her team worked tirelessly to track down the owner of the earring. After days of painstaking investigation, Sarah and her team finally identified a suspect, Julian Hayes, the victim's ex-boyfriend. Armed with a warrant, they raided his apartment, uncovering a treasure trove of incriminating evidence. Among the items seized was a matching earring, identical to the one found at the crime scene. But the most damning piece of evidence was yet to come. Hidden in Julian's closet was a jacket stained with the victim's blood, matching the fabric found near her body. Confronted with the overwhelming evidence against him, Julian confessed to the murder, his facade crumbling under the weight of guilt and remorse. As Sarah watched the handcuffed suspect being led away, she felt a sense of satisfaction wash over her. Another case closed, another killer off the streets. But even as she celebrated the victory, she knew that her work was far from over. There would always be another case waiting, another mystery to unravel. But for now, justice had been served. Thanks to the relentless pursuit of truth and the power of forensic science.